Hi guys, I'm Igor, and today I'd like to talk to you about a company called Novocure, or symbol NVCR. Let me tell you something, it's been on a crazy run lately, and since its IPO it's up almost 400%. And today I'd like to dive into its evaluation and the business model and see if we can determine at today's levels if it's a buy, or hold, or sell. Before we go further, please subscribe to my channel and click the like button below this video. This technology was developed by Israeli scientist Yoram Palti, who was developing this and testing this technology in his garage. The premise of this is that the electric fields can influence the cell division, the cancerous cell division, and can slow down or kill cancerous cells. The primary product that the company sells is the Optune delivery system that consists of the transducer arrays and the electric field generator that weighs about 2.7 pounds that the patients will carry. In 2011, Novocure received their first FDA approval for the recurrent glioblastoma, or recurrent GBM, and in 2015 they have received the FDA approval for the newly diagnosed glioblastoma, or newly diagnosed GBM, and to this day they have 3 approvals, including one for mesothelioma. Right now they are considered a Category 1 recommendation for newly diagnosed GBM by National Comprehensive Cancer Network. But as an investor, I'm mostly excited about their pipeline. Right now they have 4 large indications in their pipeline in stage 3 trials, and that is brain metastasis, non-small cell lung cancer, pancreatic cancer, and ovarian cancer. All those indications are sitting in the stage 3 trials, and we will get data from those trials from 2020 through 2022. Before I dive into opportunity with those indications, I'd like to talk about Novocure financials and their current financial state. If you look at Novocure market cap, it's 8.3 billion, and if you look at the forward PE, it's 216, which is extremely high, but not for the grower like Novocure. I mean, the company is growing at 40% year-to-year growth rate. That's very high. I mean, I don't know a lot of growers that grow like 42, 45, 40%, 35% like Novocure does. So even though the forward PE is very high, but for the grower like this, it's not that significant at this point. Because in 4 or 5 years, this forward PE might not even matter. If you look at the price to sales ratio, it's almost 26, which is also extremely high. But considering again that this is a huge grower, this is not something to pay a lot of attention to at this point right now. Their trailing 12 months net revenue is 322 million. They have cash on hand and cash alternatives is 313 million. With the debt of 165 million. So the balance sheet looks pretty decent for the company this size and for the company at this stage. Very decent, I would say. It's very healthy. There are no current concerns about bankruptcy or anything like that. So, and they just had a first profitable quarter. They made 2 cents per share with the inflows of 14 million. So that's really good. Also, you have to remember that this company has 145 issued patents and patent applications globally. A lot of companies at this stage consider offering secondary, which is basically producing more shares and getting more money from the investors, but not Novocure. And they said that they don't need to do secondary, which is really good news because they don't inflate market with their shares, and that means that the price could be intact. Current business, which is GBM business, basically sponsors their current trials and sponsoring all the expenses regarding those trials. If you look at Novocure chart, and from the point of IPO, they came out at $22 per share, and it almost immediately took a dive on the first day. I think it was down 20% on the first day. And I remember like yesterday that Bill Doyle came on NVCR and was asked a question, what did he think about the price action on Novocure shares that just came out. And he said the interesting thing that I would never forget, that he said that 5 years from now, nobody will remember this action. And boy, was he right. And in the sense that I do remember that he said that, but what he meant was that the price of the stock will be significantly higher, and it is. So basically, when it came out from $22, it went straight back to $6 because there were a lot of doubters on the technology. A lot of analysts would come out and say that they're cutting the price for Novocure to $9, $8, and it was ridiculous. But I believe it was April 2017 when the JAMA article came out on their 5-year data on GBM, and that's when the stock basically shot up from $9 to $13, $14 and pretty much never looked back. So if you look at the chart of Novocure from 2017, it's pretty much went parabolic. I mean, there's no other way to say it, because it went from $6 to $84, which is crazy percentage. It's like 1400%. As more and more investors believed in the stock, and what most importantly is more institutions believed in the stock, because 75% of the stock is owned by institutions, which is very high considering such small company actually. Why would they believe that? Pretty much for the most part is because they believe that the applicability across the field for the Novocure device. So basically, if it works for one indication, it may work for other indications, for other solid tumors. And Novocure has proven this by recently getting the FDA approval for mesothelioma. So this is not only a GBM approved, but also there's another indication, mesothelioma indication, that was approved. Also, they have been expanding like crazy in Europe, like countries like Austria, Sweden, Switzerland. They were opening offices. They have a very large presence in Germany, and a couple of years ago they opened the office in Japan. Also, they have contracted with the company called Zylabs Limited. That it's a Chinese company which actually will market and commercialize Novocure Optune system in Hong Kong and China. And what that means is that Novocure will get only 10% royalty from the sales of their Optune system, but they don't have to do anything in China. Pretty much all the regulatory approvals, all the setting up offices, hiring people in China, sales force, and everything else, all the expenses are covered by this Zylab company, which is also a really good company, and it's been a very promising road for them recently. They actually launched Optune in Hong Kong, I believe like a year ago, and the launch went really well. They're getting regulatory approval with China to launch it in mainland China. And like I said, like even though Novocure only gets 10% royalty on sales, you have to consider that China has 5 times more people than, for example, US. So That's a significant opportunity for Novocure as well as Zai Labs at this point. So Germany also conducting trials, and they will be getting reimbursement from the government on their Optune system from Germany. I believe Austria, Sweden got the government insurance reimbursement for Optune as well. And they're making a huge progress in Japan. But the huge thing for Novocure price in the last 6 months was getting Medicare coverage. I think in September 2019 they got approved for a new diagnosed glioblastoma Medicare coverage, and the stock went up a lot. And why? Because 20 to 25% of their sales are Medicare sales. So that's a huge boost to their business because before that, Novocure were just treating those patients without any money. And even though they were treating those patients without any money, they were still almost cash flow positive. Imagine what 20 to 25% boost can do to their cash flow. So now let's go back to those 4 stage 3 indications that and a potential market opportunity for those indications in the near future. So let's take first indication, brain metastases. I think with 15 to 30% penetration rate, Novocure can achieve about 6 to 7 billion in sales. Lung cancer, with only 15 to 30% penetration, Novocure, I think, can achieve 9 to 12 billion in sales. Pancreatic cancer, with 15 to 30% penetration, Novocure can achieve about 2 billion in sales. And ovarian cancer, I think Novocure can achieve about 1 billion in sales. Besides those 4 indications, don't forget that GBM market could be a $2.5 billion overall market opportunity for Novocure. So if you take this and add this up all together, we're looking at about 20 to 22 billion in sales in about 5, 6, 7 years. That's a huge market opportunity for Novocure, and that's a huge opportunity for an investor, because 22 billion a year in sales, we're looking at the stock price of about $600, $650. So that's a return of what, 7, 8, 9 times the current price, which is a crazy return if you think about it. But there are, of course, risks, and you have to consider those risks, because all these trials are stage 3 trials, but there are no guarantees, of course. I mean, the trials could end early due to not meeting endpoints, something can go wrong, and you have to consider those risks, because it's pretty much a biotech and anything can go south at any point of time. But the potential opportunity is huge, in my opinion. So the question that I posted in the beginning of this video is Novocure's buy, sell, or hold. And you probably already guessed it, that my opinion is it's still a buy. Because if you are a long-term investor and you're looking at the 5 to 7 years, the risk-reward ratio for Novocure is really good, because you can pretty much return 5 to 600% on Novocure shares at the current price. So even though the stock is very volatile, and even though there are some risks, I would still buy the stock. But you have to be careful, because the stock is incredibly volatile and anything can happen. And it's very difficult to time it, it's very difficult to trade it. So if you want to invest with a long time horizon, then just buy the shares and hold it. If you want to trade it, I wouldn't recommend it at all, because trading this stock is absolutely uh, difficult and not very rewarding, because it's a very volatile stock and the price can fluctuate a lot on this stock. So all the points that I provided in this video is my opinion, and my opinion only. You have to do your own research and invest at your own risk. If you didn't subscribe to my channel, please do so and smash that like button, and I'll see you next time.